Hi. Today's Saturday morning, and I tried to astral project again last night. This is the fifth weekend in a row that I've tried, and I've been successful 3 of those 5 times, which is a good statistic for me. This is pretty much what I'm trying to reach, is at least twice a month, and so now it's 3 times a month. So I'm happy, and so I'm going to tell you about the experience and tell you what I think I did right and what I did wrong and what I'm happy about, what I learned. Every experience is a new opportunity to learn new stuff for me, so I like it. So I went to bed around midnight. Last night I did do a few meditations. I don't usually do this, but I did some third eye meditations, 2 of them last night. And I had an early and light dinner, and so I was not full going to bed, and I went to bed early at midnight. So I had put my alarm at 7 in the morning to wake up and do my preparatory exercises to astral project at 7, but I naturally woke up at 5:15 and decided to use that time to try to project. So at 5:15, I went to the bathroom, I drank some water, I was thirsty. I have a dry eye condition, so I put some drops in my eyes because I wanted no discomfort going into my preparation. And then I laid down on my back. That's been the way it's been easiest to project. You don't want to fall asleep. You want to be awake and aware, so you get into a position where it's not natural for you to fall asleep. And on my back, I usually don't fall asleep. And so I did the same thing as the last 2 times, which is I meditated on my breath a little, and then I started visualizing the rope. You're pulling yourself out of the bed with a rope. And then when I'd be bored with that, or it's too long, it's taking too long, nothing's happening, I would switch over to seeing myself like I'm on the top of my ceiling, looking down at myself back in the bed right there. That worked the past 2 times, and this time it wasn't working, so I had to kind of improvise, and I tried other techniques. So I kind of rotated between techniques to try to get out. Some of them were just like trying to levitate out of my body, or slip out, or fly out, or float out, whatever. And nothing was working. So after an hour, I decided that it wasn't gonna work, and that's fine if it doesn't work, and I was gonna go back to sleep. So I laid down on my left side to sleep, and as I was falling asleep, I started to hear 2 women talking in my kitchen. So like on the other end of the house, there were voices of 2 women talking in my kitchen, and they sounded like my mother and my sister's voices. It was so familiar that I think I didn't even question it at first. It was just like, okay, they're talking in the kitchen. And then I realized as I was falling asleep, hey, wait, this is not normal. So that's when I realized, oh, I'm probably out of body, because you do have experiences like auditory or visual experiences as you're exiting your body. And so that was my cue this time. So when I told myself, oh, I should try to exit, I'm probably already out or separating or something's shifted, and I immediately, thinking about it, started to slip out of my body. And then I kind of like slipped down on the side of the bed, like I was rolling out, and I slipped out. I mean, my spirit, my astral body slipped out of my physical body, and I was floating maybe 18 inches from the floor. So I had the height of my bed, and then I floated around the bed to the foot of the bed. And when I was at the foot of the bed, my cat was sleeping there, and I passed right in front of her, and she saw me. She looked at me, she saw me, and I started to pet her. I could feel her, I could touch her physically, and I was still floating. So I could make contact with my cat from being in my astral body while she's in her physical body. And so I pet her, and then she decided to follow me. So I was coming out of my room, and she followed me to the kitchen. And I got to the kitchen, and I don't know where she went from there, but I was in the kitchen still at 18 inches from the floor, which is kind of weird, floating with floating my belly to the floor, 18 inches off the floor. And I called out for my spirit guides to come and help me. And as I waited for them to come, I was hoping to get some help to try to be there longer, to ask questions. I need answers, so I'm hoping the spirit guides will help me with some of these things. And they weren't coming, and so I called out for my dog Monsieur, because everyone knows, I'm doing this because I want to see my dog Monsieur. I called him, and he didn't come. So I had to decide on what else could I do. Again, it's like I never have a backup plan, and that's a mistake of mine. That's a beginner's mistake. You need to have a plan, and you need to have a backup plan. Because when you're out there, you have limited time, and if you start to think about stuff, you'll be pulled back to your body. And so I don't want to be pulled back to my body, so I just instinctively decided to go towards my back door, my patio door, and try to go outside and figure it out from there. So I was going to go outside. Why I chose to open the patio door instead of just, going through it, because I could have gone through it, but I decided to open it, and it's like my vision was very dark. I couldn't see much. Someone turned off the lights all of a sudden. It was dark. I was opening the patio door, and then I could feel my cat was at my feet trying to follow me outside. Sometimes she does that. She wants to come, and she's not allowed to be outside. So I told her, no, Molly, you can't come. And I kind of pushed her aside so that she wouldn't cross the door threshold as I was getting out. And I closed the door, and I was outside. And then I started floating off my patio, and I raised up over my house. This is weird because it's the first time that I actually flew above my house. I've been out of my body several times. Sorry, a lot of times, and never tried to go above my house. I've always gone elsewhere, and other things were more interesting. But this time, I'm outside. I want to see if I can fly above my house. And I did. It was funny to see my roof. It was my roof. It was my roof. And something was odd. In my backyard, I have a crabapple tree. It's about the same height as my house. But in the astral dimension, instead of being my crabapple tree, it was some other, kind of tree. It was a much taller tree, maybe twice the size of my house, so twice the size of the original crabapple tree I have here. And it wasn't a crabapple tree. There weren't any apples or flowers, or it wasn't that. It was another kind of tree. And in the tree were balloons with strings tied to them that were stuck inside underneath from the branches. And so when I saw that, I flew to them, and I grabbed a couple of those strings, trying to grab onto the balloons. And then I dislodged them from the tree, and then I let them fly up into the sky. And that made me realize that that's where maybe I should go next, is try to, head for space. I've never been in space either. I don't know what I'd find there interesting, but I felt like, I need to do something with this opportunity. And that was the first idea that came to me in that moment. So I did. I kind of jumped up and started to fly upwards really fast. It was so fast that I could feel shaking and vibrations on the exterior of me, like if I was a rocket going through space, and with the friction and everything. So it felt kind of that way. It was going really fast. And then I started to wonder, oh my God, where am I going to land? Because I didn't have a plan. Usually if you're going to direct your astral body in a certain direction, you're supposed to know where you want to go. If you don't, you're going to land wherever you land. You won't have a choice. You'll be somewhere. And so I realized that as I was going there, I'm like, oh, where am I going to land? And when I arrived, I felt like a slowing down of the speed of my astral body. And it felt like behind my closed eyes, because I had closed my eyes in this transition, and it felt like maybe there were changes in lightness or brightness behind my eyelids. And so I'm like, I'm probably getting somewhere. So I opened my eyes, and this is the first time I've seen that too. A lot of firsts in this projection. the visuals were very similar to DMT trip. It was like geometrical shapes, and vibrations. Like you could see vibrations in the geometry of the place. It was like probably sacred geometry or something. Very weird. And it was kind of, everything was colored like color of the desert, like brownish and yellow and orange. Not no yellow, brownish, orange, tan, like some desert colors. These vibrations and this geometry. And that kind of faded very quickly. So maybe I saw those images or those visuals for, I don't know, maybe 10 seconds. And then all of a sudden I found myself in some other space. So I was in a school, for sure it had to be a school, but I was in like the food court kind of section of the school. It was probably a university. A lot of young adults were there. And oh, you need to give me no, okay. So yeah, so a lot of young adults were there, and everything was very clean, and you know, it looked nice, like a nice school, and lots of different sections with tables and benches, and these people were sitting there eating, drinking, maybe reading, talking, whatever. There was another section where you went to get the food, and all the food that was there and prepared for these people was, it looked like candy food. Like, yeah, just everything was candy and brightly colored, like dark red and pink and orange and yellow, and you know, all these bright colors. And my eye caught the attention of there was this drink, like a slush drink, but inside this, it was like red slush, but inside the slush was like a rainbow swirl. Like, it looked really sweet and tasty and candy or something. I'm like, oh, I wonder if I should go try to eat or drink something here. And I was thinking maybe I should go get that drink and taste it, because I've actually only eaten something once in astral projection, and I kind of got tempted to do that. But then I realized, I don't even know if I'm gonna have to pay for this thing. I don't know how it works to get food in a place like this in the astral dimension, and I didn't want attention on myself. You know, if I go to pick up a drink and they're like, you need to pay for that, and I'm like, I don't have money, that's attention on me. And in the astral realm, you never know if you're welcome or not somewhere. But when people find out and you're not welcome there, they can kick you out, and that's happened to me before. So I didn't want to call attention to myself by not having whatever kind of currency you needed to pay for anything there. Maybe there was no anything to pay, but I didn't know, so I didn't want to take that chance. So I looked around. There were so many people there. It felt like I don't know, I don't like crowded places, so I felt like I need to leave. As I was leaving, I turned the corner of that room and going into a hallway, and there was like this display of like school stuff, like school bags and pencil cases and, you know, art supplies and stuff like that. And everything was, again, super bright colored, and everything had like strawberries on it, or, you know, whatever, like red, pink, and it was just childish kind of school supplies. And I turned around, went down the stairs. I'm like, oh, I should probably try to go somewhere else. And I was looking out this big window thinking, oh, I'm just going to hop out this window and try to go see if I can find somewhere else, when this woman that was coming down, she turned around and she said, oh, Julie, can I ask you a question? So this person knew me or knew my name. And so I figured, yeah, why not? And then I tried to sit down, and as I was going to sit down to listen to whatever she had to ask me, I thought maybe I'm going to try to just float sitting instead of sit right on the stairs, to see if anyone's going to notice that that's weird, like I'm doing something weird. And so I tried, and no one cared, like no one noticed. And that woman, she says, okay, so I was wondering, you know, and then she asked me a question. I don't exactly remember the question, but it sounded something like, if someone says this, what does that mean? So that was the kind of question she was asking me. And then I started to think about it, and I was back in my body. So, you know, thinking or using your mind as we do here to think about things, if we do that in the astral, it's like not a good thing to do because it's going to pull you back to your body. It's like a physical action to think that way. It brings you back to the physical dimension. So yeah, I was pulled back. Now, before I end this video, I did want to say what I think is working well for me and not working so well for me in my astral projection practice right now, because I've just started to astral project again, and you know, putting some effort into that to bring it up to what it was a few years ago. And you know, it's true, meditation really helps, but because when you're laying on your back waiting to be in the right space to exit your body, you need all these meditation skills to, first of all, you know, keep your awareness on what you're doing and not fall asleep. So that meditation skills are going to help with that. It helps with the patience, because you're laying there down for an hour and nothing's happening. So the meditation skills help there. And then I was also in a lot of pain last night. And so when I tried to astral project, I could feel my body, I could feel my pain. And if you don't have that meditation practice where you learn to separate yourself from these physical sensations, it's much harder to stay in the right headspace, to let your body fall asleep so that you can exit. And so, yeah, meditating is helping me with my astral projection practice, as I knew it would, but that's why I keep doing it. And then things that aren't helping, I guess, yeah, I do need to have a backup plan. That's like a beginner's mistake, to not have a plan. I did have a plan. I knew I wanted to ask for Monsieur, ask for my guide's help and stuff like that. I figured I was going to be in my house, but then I didn't really plan for what if that doesn't happen the way I wanted to happen. Like, my guides didn't show up, Monsieur didn't show up, and so what do you do next? So there are lots of things I want to explore in the astral. And if I had planned better this time, I would have had a more interesting experience. I would have gone to the library. Like, I want to go to the library, and next time that's going to be my backup plan. Now I know. I'm like, oh man, I wish I had gone there instead of like this, you know, random university place with kids I don't know. And just, so yeah, it makes me think about that. And also the fact that I got asked a question and started thinking and pulled back out. Like, it's not the first time I've been kicked out. And I don't know if what this woman was doing was actually kicking me out through asking me a question which would bring me back to my body. I don't know if that was made on purpose, but I have to have a plan for next time to not go there. If someone asks a question that's going to make me think, just say no thank you or whatever and move on if I want to stay there longer. So that's it. So that was my astral projection from today. And yeah, I'm gonna try every weekend for a while. So, you know, maybe in the next few weekends you'll see some more like this, where I talk about my experience, tell you what went well and what didn't go so well, and how my practice is progressing right now. I'm pretty happy with the results up to now, and so I hope that it keeps going like this, but no promises because I don't control everything, but at least I did control these last 3 projections, and that's a good sign that I'm on the right track. So I hope you enjoy my story, and stay tuned for more.